Hello everyone, my name is Heaven White, and today I'll be talking about Singapore's business culture. I'll cover three main areas in this presentation: the political environment, the communication style, and some key cultural traits, including uncertainty avoidance and collectivism. Understanding these areas will help us know how to work better with Singapore businesses and build strong relationships. Political environment in Singapore. Singapore is a parliamentary republic, but it's mostly controlled by one party called the People's Action Party, which has been in power since 1959. The government is very pro-business and has a strong reputation for low corruption. This makes Singapore an attractive destination for international companies looking to invest or set up operation. At the same time, the government enforces strict laws around media and public speech, and protests are highly restricted, which shows tight control over public opinion. Overall, Singapore is politically stable, which is great for doing business because companies can expect consistency and predictability. However, some concern include limited political diversity and a rising cost of living, which might affect the business environment in the future. Communication style in Singapore. Singapore leads towards a high context communication style in both business and social interactions. This means that communication is often indirect and polite. People use tone, gestures, and their relationships to share messages rather than just words. In high context culture like Singapore, many expectations and social norms are understood without needing to be explicitly stated. This reliance on means that business success often depends on trust and personal connections, rather than just formal contracts or documents. For people from low context cultures, like many Americans who expect direct and clear answers, this style might seem vague or overly cautious. It's important to avoid being too blunt or aggressive because that can come off as disrespectful. Also, ethical standards in Singapore tend to be shared within the community rather than spelled out in detailed rules. Key cultural dimensions in Singapore. According to our textbooks, Singapore scores very low on uncertainty avoidance, only an 8, which means people are generally comfortable with change. This low score supports flexibility, innovation, and willingness to take risk in business. Singapore scores 20 on individualism, indicating it's a collective culture that values group harmony and cooperation over individual achievement. Its masculinity score is 48, showing a balance between competitiveness and caring for others. The power distance score is fairly high at 74, meaning people accept differences and respect authority, but also expect fairness and efficiency in leadership. Together, these cultural traits create a work environment that respects structure but also encourages flexibility and teamwork. Here is a visual representation of these scores from the Hofstede research. You can see that power distance is quite high, confirming that Singapore's accept change and authority in the workplace. And individualism is low, which fits that with Singapore's collectivist mindset that values groups over individuals. Masculinity sits in the middle, meaning there's a balance between competitiveness and cooperation, and uncertainty avoidance is very low, which means that Singapore is comfortable with taking risks and flexible with rules and procedures. This chart helps explain the way business is conducted in Singapore and the kinds of management styles that work well there. Key takeaways from this: to sum it up, Singapore uses a high context communication style, where relationships, subsequently, and trust are very important. Its cultural shows that high power distance, indicating respect for authority, collectivism, which values the group, and low uncertainty avoidance, which supports flexibility. Understanding these cultural traits is essential for building success and respectful business relationships in Singapore. Understanding cultural is the success to unlocking global business success. Thank you so much for watching.